So I actually have a pretty vivid memory of learning to read. I remember actually like it was yesterday being back at public school. Everybody in the class, all the kids, were checking out books. And I was looking at the books and I noticed that they were all like chapter books, whereas mine was a picture book. My name is Jessica. I'm 17 years old and I go to school at Landmark in Beverly.
Landmark School, which is a school that serves students with dyslexia and related language-based learning differences. Dyslexia, as I define it, is an unexpected difficulty learning to read, write, and spell.
Should have given a toe tap.
So we're introducing two new types of sentences today, which are complex sentences and compound complex sentences. Raise your hand if you're familiar with either of those.
Thinking way back when I was at public school, I would have trouble reading because I didn't understand the words and things would flip. I would see some words like, let's say if I saw an M, sometimes I would think it's a P.
If I just said I love dogs, can that stand alone? Is that a complete thought?
Yes.
Yeah. What if I just said when I was young?
No.
Why is that not a complete thought?
We could just change one.
Yeah. When I was young, what? What does every single sentence need to have?
Independence.
Independent clause, exactly. So this is a complex sentence.
So I just really struggled to read. I would even actually get pulled out into a separate room and a teacher would read to me the books.
Can you find one of these that actually has two subject predicate pairs in there? Yeah, what are our two pairs?
And I was.
Exactly. And then we have this word since. So if we look at this sheet, at our examples,
Subordinate conjunction.
good. So we have one independent and we have one subordinate. So what kind of sentence is that?
I think it just made me feel very different overall. I just wanted to be almost invisible.
Complex.
Complex.
Okay.
Good. Perfect.
The issues that I've seen with both of my children is their level of self-esteem. She didn't feel very good about herself. She would come home from school and she just was not my child.
Talk about dyslexia and language-based learning differences. I always say it's a double-edged sword because what we have are incredibly bright students who are well aware that the environment that they're placed in is not working for them. So oftentimes that creates a breakdown in self-esteem. It creates a breakdown in self-confidence. Students are in a class, they see their peers thriving, progressing, and they don't understand why it's not working for them. In the worst scenarios, often that lack of success or that lack of progress can be put back on the child and ascribed as a work ethic problem, or you're not trying hard enough.
So I realized that I had to get her out of mainstream and into a school that specialized in the services that she needed to thrive and to flourish.
They told me at the end of 4th grade, so I was going to be starting Landmark in the 5th grade. Within like a week or two, I felt very comfortable. Yeah, I just really enjoyed everything, like the classroom size. You know, it's easier to communicate with your teacher because there's less kids in the class.
It's spelled East wrong. That's why I'm making fun of you.
Hey, I'm dyslexic. All right, you guys, finish up. I'm dyslexic.
That excuse doesn't work here.
That excuse does not work here.
At my previous school, I didn't have that support, so you have a tutorial and you have that one-on-one time with the teacher where you can go over anything that you're struggling with.
So at a place like Landmark, we're designed in everything that we do for how these students think.
One, and the world around him greatly influenced him.
Yeah, during his childhood, etc.
Yeah.
Right? Did we really have to use a lot of mental energy coming up with new ideas here?
No.
No. Does it sound like a completely new idea?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. We're working smarter, not harder.
And when you raise your hand to ask a question, it turns out everybody in the class has the same, and everybody needs the same kind of support that you need, which just again brings down that stigma.
I think if she stayed in the public schools, she would have been able to scrape by. What I think it would have done to her mentally or from like a self-esteem point of view, I think she would have suffered greatly. I mean, we're fortunate in that we're able to finance her, not so much so for probably a lot of other families. I feel for them because I can't imagine not having the ability to be able to send my child somewhere that I feel that they need to be.
Landmark is a resource, it's not the solution. Landmark could grow tenfold and still not be accessible or able to serve the number of students across Massachusetts and the region that would benefit from it. So Landmark, I believe, is situated to be a resource for public schools and really all schools to learn and understand how do we help more kids. But part of it begins by intervening early. The idea that we're going to wait until a student fails, that we're going to wait till the wheels fall off before we do anything, that's when a school like Landmark almost becomes an inevitability.
So if I had the opportunity to tell my past self, how things would look differently in the future, I would explain that it's not always going to look how it was. I would tell her that it's going to be okay and that what the future holds is really great.